All right, this next section deals with fractions. And the one thing that I want to make sure you understand is that you are to factor first. And I hope that makes an impression. Nice, big, red, chunky letters. And cancel will cause you so much trouble in this unit, so don't even think about it. Okay? So here's what I want you to see next. So when we factor, just like the quiz, you need to look for what? First common factor. And so on top here, what's common? 36. And who's left? Ooh, who else is common? We missed something. Good. And who's left? Y plus 2. And the bottom, since it's a single term, I can factor the Mickey Mouse way. 3 times 3 times y times y. Then, since this 36y is by itself, I can factor that the Mickey Mouse way. 3 times 12. But what's 12? 3 times 4. But what's 4? 2 times 2. And the y is still there. Now, listen carefully. What's 3 over 3? 1. How is that 1 attached? Multiplication. What happens when you multiply by 1? Not a whole lot, right? What's 3 over 3? How is that 1 attached? What's y over y? 1. You're allowed to remove 1's that are attached by multiplication. That's math. Canceling is not math. You hear the difference? Okay? And so then, I ran out of room, so this is the best I can do. And what's 2 times 2? 4. And the y down there is still there. Now, check it out. How is this y attached? Addition. But do you see? If you're taught canceling, you're going to want to cancel the y's, aren't you? But I taught you if it's a 1 attached by multiplication, then I can remove it. You see the difference in approach? Okay? And I'm hoping my difference in approach will help you. You try C. Factor first. Okay, so for this one, greatest common factor, what's common on top? 10's good. Who's left? 2r plus 1. And on the bottom, what's common? 15. What's left? 2r plus 1. I know. Let's hang on. Is 10 a single factor? I can factor that Mickey Mouse way. What is it? 2 times 5. And 15? 3 times 5. And so, what's 5 over 5? What's 2r plus 1 over 2r plus 1? 1. Notice I didn't draw lines through the 2r's and also the 1's. It's one thing, not two. Who's left? 2/3. Okay, but my worry is, because I see this every year, People love to do this. Oh yeah, 10 goes into 10 once, 10 goes into 33 times, 5 goes into here 4. It's like they just love crossing stuff out. They love canceling. Okay? Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Okay? You're going to do this as part of your homework. Let's go on. And we're going to do the same thing as we did above. Factor first. So we'll do this one. And how do I make x squared? X times x. How do I make 16? 4 times 4. And how do I make a negative 8x? Negative, negative. Now, if you're taking notes, stop. And don't write the next part down. It's going to be wrong. But I want to show you the thought process, so just hang on. On the bottom, what's common? 2x. And what's left? 4 minus x. Now, the reason I said that's wrong is it's not quite what I want, right? But I want to show you what happens. And then what you do, okay, you're not wrong yet. You're wrong if you stop. This is just part of the process, okay? So you go, oh, that's really close. Let's try something else. Any suggestions? Factor out a negative 2x. And what's left? So how do I make the 8x? Negative 4. Can I put the negative 4 here? Would that bother anybody? And negative 2x times what is negative 2x squared? Just x, right? This will be a negative, this will be a positive. So making an adjustment, okay? Something didn't quite work the first time, that's okay. So then this is our 1. Is there anything else I can reduce or factor? No, right? So if you write this as an answer, you'll get full credit. Problem is you'll never see that answer in a book because they don't like the denominator to be negative. So I'm going to multiply my answer by 1. Do you care if I multiply the answer by 1? And what's negative 1 over negative 1? Isn't that 1? What do I get in the bottom? 2x. What do I get on the top? Negative x plus 4. You might see it as 4 minus x. Same thing? Okay. So if you write this, you'll get full credit. If you write this, you'll also get full credit. I'm just worried that two things. One, it won't be in the back of the book. And second, if I ever give you a multiple choice test, and this answer is there, but this is not, you need to learn how to go from this answer to this one. Okay, you do G. Take you 30 seconds. So on top, this factors to what? X plus 3, x minus 3. And this factors to? Good. And I need you to see 2 things on top and 2 on the bottom, not 4. Is this 1? Yeah, it's the same thing over itself, attached by multiplication. But over here, the x's and the 3's, are they attached by multiplication? No. So those aren't really 1's that I can make. I have to stop there. You see the difference in approach. I'm not canceling. I'm writing 1's that are attached by multiplication. Okay? Now this one, I hope looks familiar. You see the cubes? You see two terms, and then three. And then what? And then what? Stop. What do I do? Same. Opposite. Positive. Good. And how do I make x cubed? X times x times x. How do I make 1? 1 times 1 times 1, right? How do I make the x cubed here? X squared. How do I make the 1 here? 1. And what goes in the middle? 1 times x is just x. Okay? And then the bottom, how do I make x squared? Xx, right? How do I make 1? 1, 1. And how do I make the positive 2x? Plus, plus. Do you see that's gone? And do you see this is left? And I know you probably think I'm silly. I'm writing a 1 and not canceling. But that's what I want you to learn. All right? Now, if I go back up to this one, the others you're going to do for homework, okay? But this one looks promising, right? Now, I'm going to say something that I hope you understand. On the bottom, listen carefully. I can factor out a negative 1 that's already there. So here it comes. I'm factoring out a negative 1. And then how do I check factoring? I multiply, right? So negative 1 times what is a negative x? X. Is this the same as the negative x? And negative 1 times what is a positive 3? Is this a positive 3? I did not multiply by negative 1. I factored out a negative 1 that was already there. Because you would not be very happy if I multiply your grade by negative 1. Or I multiply your bank account by negative 1. I did not multiply by negative 1. I factored out a negative 1 that was already there. But look, boom, boom. Now, do you mind if I multiply your grade by 1? No. So if I put a 1 here, nobody cares, right? And what's this? Negative 1. Now, there's nothing different about these questions. They're just longer, but they're not different. Watch. See this multiplication? All you do is make the fraction bar longer. And you multiply out the tops, or the numerators, and the denominators. It's the same question, right? And you do what in big red letters? Factor first. And so if I do this just right, I think it's 2n, 2n, 5, and 2, is that right? 10, 4, 6, that doesn't work. So maybe it's 4 and 1, yeah. 4 and 1, there's 8, and there's 5. The 8 has to be positive, the 5 negative, is that right? And then the bottom, 2n, n, 2, and 1, plus and minus. I don't think I need this 1, do you? And then I just copy the 2n minus 1 and the n plus 4. 1, 1. I have 4n minus 5 left on top, and n plus 4 in the bottom. Really, it's nothing different, is it? Factor, reduce. Now what would happen if everything reduced out? Do I get 0? No, because it's 1 times 1 times 1, right? That's what it means. See what cancel does to you? You lose the meaning and do stupid things. Okay, one more thought. Division becomes what? Multiplying by the reciprocal. So the 5z squared stays on top. The z squared stays on the bottom. But then the 2z cubed plus 8z squared goes on top. And the 30z squared minus 6z goes on the bottom. And you have lots of factoring to do, don't you? Which is why we factored for 2 days, because we have to build on that skill. All right? So, that's the lesson. You have homework to do. You have a few days to do it. We don't meet tomorrow. I'm not going to see you Saturday or Sunday or Monday. I will see you Tuesday.